Hey everyone, my name is Chris Lambert, co-host of Watching the Throne, a lyrical analysis of Kanye West, the #1 Kanye podcast. And this is the Kanye news rundown for Monday, July 9th, 2018. And I want to start off with an apology to our subscribers. There was an issue last week that resulted in something like 40 to 50 videos being uploaded to our channel, which resulted in a mass amount of emails, notifications, which had to have been very annoying. I'm really sorry about that. What happens is our YouTube channel is linked to our Libsyn account. So when we publish any of our podcast episodes, they get pushed to YouTube as an audio video, right? What happened is that iTunes increased the amount of episodes you can have from 100 to 200. And we have way over 100 episodes. And my co-host Travis, who handles a lot of the production elements, had noticed the increase, so decided to re-upload a bunch of our old news episodes, a bunch of old bonus episodes, and just did it in one fell swoop. All of those got pushed to YouTube. And the chaos that resulted was annoying. So really sorry. That's not something that's ever going to happen again. If we ever have to re-upload a bunch of things, we're going to do so in a way that they're either not uploaded to YouTube or uploaded to YouTube in a controlled manner. So very sorry about that. But let's get into the news. First up, Kanye, who hadn't been tweeting much since the album releases, I mean, he needed a break, tweeted a few things the other day. First, the contents from the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown. I don't know how you say his last name. Second, I used to spend every moment I had at the Moss store, and that's because the Moss store is closing. And this is just a little information. Murray Moss is the founder and mind behind the Moss store Kanye is referring to. Moss Bureau is the name he's using for his company now. There's a huge profile in the New York Times in 2012 when Moss decided to move away from the store and start consulting or doing other design work. So, and then this chasing validation is like putting your soul in a plank position, which, yeah. I mean, if you ever tried to hold a plank position for more than 2 minutes, good luck, because it starts to suck. And if you chase validation, it's going to start to suck. But this is Essentialism. I'm Greg McKeown? Yeah. I read it or listened to the audiobook last year, and it was something that really gave me perspective and helped me view things as what is the most essential part of this task I'm doing. What's the most essential thing in this day, in this month, in my life, and boiling things down to those essential elements. It's not something that the very specific details I remember much of, but I know that it's had a pretty dramatic impact on my life in terms of me just looking at situations and saying, okay, what's essential here? What's not? I started doing that because I read this book. So if you're interested in checking it out, there'll be a link down below, or you can just go to Amazon. The link will be an affiliate link. So if you buy anything through it, you'll help us out with no extra cost. Next up, someone is selling framed Kanye West tweets. Framed tweets does this, $50 a pop, and you can get most of Kanye's famous tweets in this golden frame. I have no idea why this is being talked about now. Framed Tweets has been doing this for nearly 2 years, but I saw that there were 4 or 5 articles about it. So I don't know if it's just a media push or if it's some outlets discovering it for the first time and writing about it. If they'd like other things to write about, I can tell them a Kanye podcast that is very good and worth listening to. There's an article on Complex. Here's where you can buy the Vernet tea Kanye West wore. I don't know French words that well, but Kanye recently was spotted in Malibu wearing this shirt, And I don't know why this shirt in particular is one that Complex decided to dedicate an article to. But they had recently debuted a summer collection online, and Kanye already has the shirt and is rocking the shirt. So if you want to wear what Kanye wears at prices that aren't maybe as expensive, there you go. Drake, which Drake is going to come up a lot. Drake takes aim at Kanye West in a new freestyle. So this happened on a show called Behind Bars, and it's just a 3-minute verse and a couple of the lines that are big on it. They want to link when they got no tunes. They too worried about selling out shoes, which, yeah, seems very clearly about Kanye. I don't give a fuck about jeans or crap or going to Milan or going to the Met. I just want to make these songs for the set. I find this line so fascinating and kind of ironic, because here Drake is kind of saying, like, I don't give a shit about this culture shit that you're on. I'm all about music. And the main conflict, or at least criticisms, I hear about people that like Drake or people that like Kanye and dislike Drake, or the criticism about both of them, really. Kanye has gotten more into art albums, right? Like the music on Yeezus, the music on Life of Pablo, the music on Ye are in service to the narrative, the themes, the purpose of the album, rather than just being about the music, where Drake makes music and kind of the lyrics and the content fit into what's going to be popular, what are people going to like and want to put on and listen to. And both have pros and both have cons. I mean, the pro to Kanye is that he's making these albums that are these unique, beautiful things that people are going to be discussing and deconstructing and analyzing for decades to come. Drake isn't on that level of having these albums and tracks that people are poring over and wanting to find the meaning of. But at the same time, he's putting out music that people just want to throw on and listen to and dance to and connect with and vibe to where for years people are going to be listening to Drake tracks. But, you know, people don't want to always listen to an art album, which is why some people really like old Kanye more than they like new Kanye. And some people just don't want to listen to pop music over and over again, which is why some people get really sick of Drake, where other people love everything that Drake does. So it's funny that he seems aware of that dichotomy, but seems to think that what he's doing is the superior version. That worrying about the inspiration that you get from Milan or the Met, nah, you don't need that. Like, he's making these songs for the set. I really like that awareness and the irony there. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West return from lakeside getaway for happy date nights in Malibu. So if you're somebody that just really likes the Kim Ye experience, then this is going over a lot of their 4th of July weekend and what they've been up to. You get to see videos of Kim wakeboarding. That's what that is. And in a bikini. So lots of good content. Here, T.I. explains what happened after he confronted Kanye West over his Donald Trump support. And we know back after Ye versus the People drop, T.I. spoke a little bit about the conversation and what it meant to him and where Kanye's head is at. He wasn't overly critical of Kanye, and he continues here in this vein of just being more open about the conversation and not necessarily critical in what he's saying about Kanye. I wanted to pick his brain, get his thoughts, so I could have a better understanding of where he was coming from and what he was attempting to say. I wanted him to do the same for me, and we did that successfully over a 5-hour period, and at the end of it, we just decided it would be dope if we did a song that detailed the highlights of the conversation. I never thought he'd put it out because of the blatant honesty, because I actually wanted to say things that I felt people walking the streets would say. I wanted to give it a very organic feel. I think it was extremely courageous of him to just put it out on the next day, regardless of the adverse opinion that it may receive from his fans. And I don't know, I still think that that song's fascinating, just in what it gets at, how it shows that Kanye wasn't trying to be malevolent or isn't just on the like far right conservative ideology, but is getting at a very Kanye perspective on things. And I think there's still criticism of that perspective, but I don't think it's nearly as political as what people were initially saying, or politically aligned with Trump's policies as people were thinking. Will Smith praises Kanye West for making people think about Donald Trump. The actor said he admires that what Kanye West is doing to push ideas. That's what I love about Kanye right now. He's willing to take the smash down in order to push ideas. He's making people think, even in the twisted, backhanded success of Donald Trump. Yeah, he is making you think about Donald Trump, which I don't like to do. Pusha T called Kanye West's MAGA hat this generation's Ku Klux Hood, which, yeah. In terms of having different opinions, I think you can not... It can be hard to find more opposite views on Donald Trump than Pusha T and Kanye West. And yet they still work together and are nice to each other. To Make America Great Again hat is this... The Make America Great Again hat is this generation's Ku Klux Hood. When was America so great anyways? Name that time period. And then Pusha goes in even more. We disagree on plenty of shit. Of course I disagree with what he said then. Well, when he did TMZ, I flew to Wyoming the next day. We spoke about insensitivity, the actual messaging, where I felt he went wrong. You can't even paraphrase about situations and issues that are so personal to people. When it comes to death and real life, people and persecution and things where families have been divided, you have to be more careful. And then when asked if he's frustrated about the rollout and Kanye's controversy overshadowing it, he said, "It's not about me being frustrated. He's opinionated, I'm opinionated. He's a guy who runs off feelings. It always comes back to the music." And I think that's something that we saw with a lot of Kanye fans. There were people that were completely turned off by all the Donald Trump support. Others that were turned off but still sympathetic for Kanye or towards Kanye, as they understood that, you know, he may be getting at something that is well-intended but just isn't doing it right. And then there were people that fully supported all of it. And I think one of the common grounds for all those fans is just, is the music still good? And for the people that really enjoyed Ye and Kids See Ghost and everything else, yes, everything else fell by the wayside. At the end of the day, it was just about the music. But then there's still people, of course, that hated the music and then felt justified in further distancing themselves or further having hatred of Kanye. So it's amazing how the opinion on the music either makes allowances for the behavior or furthers a negative opinion about Kanye. Or you have the rare person that separates the art and the artist, which hats off to those people. And then this is another big one, and I think I'm gonna end up doing a breakout just to discuss this in a little bit more detail. Joe Budden offers up some theories behind Drake's subliminal shots at Kanye West on Scorpion. I think that Drake probably let Kanye hear a good amount of what he was working on because that's what artists do. I think that this is while his June date is announced. He never said June what, he always just said June. I think he then left Kanye, and I think when he went back to Kanye, there was a whole bunch of people around. I think when he went back to Kanye, Kanye had his whole June rollout planned. I think that everything Kanye has done in the past month with that bullshit was totally centered around whatever information he got from Drake before he departed. I think when Drake left the second time, that's when a diss record came out, Drake's Dubby Freestyle. And one of the main things that a lot of these articles are referencing, I struggled to come across one that actually fully analyzed or overviewed Joe Budden's podcast, where he talked about Scorpion and Kanye and all of this. The major talking point that most outlets brought up was this stuff with the June rollout and Kanye picking June because he found out Drake was going to do June and wanting to overwhelm Drake. But then also the second part, that the first verse on Emotionless is connected to the second verse on 8 out of 10. So you just really have to listen to the podcast if you want to hear all the points and perspectives, or go to the breakout episode and you can hear me talk about it in a little bit more detail, but it's just going to be a general thing because they bring up so much that it would be hard to go point by point. But the short of it is, I think that they're right that a lot of Scorpion is about Kanye, but I think these guys fucking hate Kanye. Like, really fucking hate Kanye, especially that dude, who's ever on the right, the not Joe guy. And that negativity towards Kanye, I think, sways a lot of the conversation and takes it from more of an objective place, which it's crazy for me to be talking about objectivity regarding Kanye when this is the YouTube channel I have and the podcast I have is completely Kanye. But I like to think that we take a little bit more of a objective perspective, or at least trying to balance out talking points. And I think that a lot of the views that they have just tip a little bit too far in terms of reading things just as Kanye's fault or Kanye's flaws, or like, of course, fuck Kanye for this, and that, rather than having actual evidence or foundation for some of the points that they bring up. So that's that. But I do agree that Scorpion is heavily about Kanye, with a lot of lines that are clearly about Ye. It's just a difference in where that comes from, and I guess the validity to those criticisms. And that does it for this episode. I just wanted to highlight that the Yeezus book is out, currently sitting at number 77 on the bestsellers in rap music in books, which, as you can imagine, is not a big selection. So while it's cool to be in the top 100, I mean, there's a fucking coloring book that's ahead of us and sitting at 51. So it would be nice to get up the list. If you're curious about the Yeezus book, they're finally fucking available. I actually have one in my hand, and it's cool. It's a full, that picture. It's a full narrative, thematic, and sonic deconstruction of Yeezus. And it doubles not only as a work of scholarship, but this coffee table book that has a lot of cool art inspired by Yeezus that's, whatchamacallit, all done by an artist who loves Yeezus. And you get some cool shit like that. So if you'd like to support us and support not only Watching the Throne, but the Most Unruly YouTube channel, and Martin Connor from Rap Analysis, and King Shot Press, the best independent press in the Northwest, then get yourself a copy of the Yeezus book. Thanks for joining us, and have a good night.